This is experiment number 2, physical and chemical changes. And so I'm going to be, we're going to start by looking at some different substances and making some observations. So on your data sheet, the first one is sucrose. So we're going to get a nice close-up of sucrose. Notice its state of matter, its color, its texture. Okay. I'm going to move a magnet underneath here to see if the magnet will make it move. Alright, and now the next thing we're going to do is take a little bit of this. Remember, this is sucrose, the first one on your data table. And we're going to put it in water and see if it dissolves. So we're testing the solubility. Okay, so I'm just going to tap a little bit to stir it up. Alright, and there's a little bit on the bottom still. Some of it has dissolved. Okay, so that is sucrose. The next one on your list is sodium hydrogen carbonate, which is this material right here. So again, make some observations. What does it look like? Okay. Note the texture, the color. Again, we're going to do the magnet test. So I'll move the magnet around, see if anything happens with our substance. All right. And then we're going to put a little bit into the water. So again, seeing if it's soluble. Will it dissolve? Alright, and that was sodium hydrogen carbonate. Next on our list is sand. So make some observations. What do you see? Okay, and the magnet. And then put some in the water and test solubility. So tap it to stir it up. Alright, moving on down our list. Now we're on sodium chloride. Okay, this one is about the same color as the piece of paper, so it's kind of hard to see. Okay, so this is sodium chloride. Test it with the magnet. And then put a little bit into the water. Let's get a little bit off the piece of paper here. There we go. Alright, so we're going to put some in the water. Tap it, get it nice and mixed up. Alright. So that was sodium chloride. Next we have sulfur. Alright, so here's our sample of sulfur. Take a look at the texture and color. We'll test it with a magnet. And then we will test solubility. Our last substance we're going to take a look at is iron. So here's a sample of iron. Notice its color, its texture. Okay, now we're going to test it with a magnet. take just a few of these and put them in water to see if they are soluble. Alright, so that's the end of the first part of our lab. For this part of our experiment, we're going to be looking at some different changes and deciding if they are physical changes or chemical changes. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm going to heat some sucrose over a burner. Start to see it's changing color. We're getting some bubbling. You can see there's some steam coming out of the top of the test tube. It's got a smell like burnt marshmallows. So we'll make some observations on what happened when we heated the sucrose. Okay, the next one we're going to do is I'm going to combine our sodium hydrogen carbonate with some hydrochloric acid. Okay, and then again, you see lots of bubbling. When I touch the outside of the test tube, it feels cool. So we're having a temperature change. I can hear fizzing. Just about done reacting now. So here I have a combination of sodium chloride and sand, okay, and I'm mixing it around. You can see what happens when you mix those two substances. All right, for this part of our experiment, so I have some sodium chloride in this beaker. And I'm going to add some water. Okay, and I'm going to stir that up. Notice what's happening to the sodium chloride. Okay, get a good look at that. Okay, and then we're also going to mix some sand into here. Stir that up. All right. Next, I'm going to pour this mixture into this funnel, and the funnel has a piece of filter paper in it. So we're going to filter this mixture. So you'll see there's liquid dripping down out of the bottom of the funnel. Okay, and if you can see inside the funnel. All right, so we're gonna let this sit for a few minutes. All right, so our liquid has gone through the filter, and here inside the filter paper, you can see that the sand has stuck inside the filter paper. And then if we look in our beaker that was underneath, okay, we have some liquid. So now Mr. Sanford is going to take this liquid and evaporate some of it for us.
First things first, notice there's nothing in the bottom of the crucible. Take like so, pour the liquid in, and we do our basic setup. Now that we have our setup for the Bunsen burner, start it up and we wait. As you can see, the water's been boiling for a while, and right about there on the edges, the formation of the first salt crystals. Now we got our salt back. All the water boiled out, evaporated, and what came off was distilled water, and what was left behind was the salt. So, there you go. Hope you've enjoyed this lab.
We're going to take a look at another combination. We're going to combine sulfur and iron. Okay, so mix this up. Okay, so there's a combination of sulfur and iron. Now, if I were to heat this mixture, which I've already done, you get a material that looks like this. And on your screen, it will show you what the mass of that mixture was before it was heated and the mass of the product after it was heated.